You're staring at your phone, watching a bank balance hit zero. Rain taps softly against the window, while your coffee slowly turns cold. You are 26 years old, recently unemployed, and quietly terrified about tomorrow. Somewhere beneath that fear, a strange, stubborn idea keeps quietly returning. What if you never had to depend on one paycheck ever again? What if instead of one job, you slowly collected entire small businesses? Not started them from scratch, but bought them, owned them, and controlled them. This single thought will eventually turn $400 into $500 million. But right now, sitting alone in silence, you don't believe that yet. 2 years later, you find a tiny laundromat, losing money every month. The tired owner is exhausted, ready to sell for almost nothing today. Your hands shake slightly as you sign papers you barely understand yet. This isn't glamorous. There's no stage, no applause, no cameras ever watching. Just you, a mop bucket, and machines that hum through the night. Within 6 months, you fix the pricing, the hours, and the marketing. The laundromat now quietly makes $800 profit every single month. It still feels small, almost embarrassing compared to your original enormous dream. But something deep inside you has quietly and permanently changed forever. You didn't just fix a business, you proved that ownership actually works. Ownership, you slowly realize, isn't about ego. It's simply about controlling outcomes. So you take that $800 and you start looking again. This time, you find a small vending machine route nobody else wants. You buy it using seller financing, paying the owner slowly over time. Now you own 2 boring businesses that quietly generate cash while you sleep. That phrase, cash while you sleep, becomes something close to an obsession. You start calling this collection something official, something with actual weight behind it. You register a holding company, one entity that owns every smaller business. On paper, it looks unremarkable, just a name on forgettable government paperwork. In reality, you've just built the exact structure billionaires quietly rely on. Word gets around slowly that you're the person who buys tired businesses. A retiring plumber calls you, exhausted, wanting out before his health worsens further. You negotiate calmly. Now, no longer shaking, no longer unsure of yourself. You structure the deal so his own business pays for its purchase. This is the secret nobody tells you when you're broke and starting out. You don't need millions up front. You need patience, structure, and quiet confidence. 3 businesses become 5. 5 become 9, almost without anyone noticing outside. Your holding company now controls plumbing, laundry, vending, and one small bakery. Each business is boring, unsexy, and completely unrelated to anything trending online. That boredom, you slowly learn, is precisely the entire point of wealth. Excitement fades fast, but boring cash flow quietly compounds for decades. Your family starts noticing the change before you're even willing to admit it. Your mother stops asking nervously when you'll finally get a real job. Your old coworkers start texting, curious how you actually pulled this off. You don't brag. You simply forward them a spreadsheet full of numbers. Numbers, you're learning, speak far louder than any confident conversation ever could. But with growth comes something nobody warned you about beforehand. Real pressure. 9 businesses means 9 sets of employees depending entirely on your decisions. Then, one late-night phone call changes everything. The bakery's oven has died completely. Replacing it costs $11,000 you genuinely don't have sitting around. For the first time since that rainy apartment, real fear returns instantly. You lie awake, calculating, refinancing, borrowing against businesses that barely just started. This is the moment most people quietly quit and go back to jobs. You almost do too, staring blankly at spreadsheets past 2 in the morning. Instead, you call every supplier, negotiate every invoice, and buy yourself time. You survive that month by exactly $412. Barely. That number becomes burned permanently into your memory. A private, quiet scar. It teaches you something no business book had ever fully explained. Growth without cash reserves isn't growth. It's simply risk wearing a disguise. From that day forward, every single business must fund its own emergencies. You build systems now, instead of simply chasing exciting new opportunities. Each business gets its own manager, its own numbers, its own accountability. You stop being the person who fixes things and become someone else entirely. You become the person who builds the machine that fixes things itself. This shift feels uncomfortable, almost like losing control of something truly precious. But letting go, you discover, is actually how real scale becomes possible. By year 5, your holding company generates $2 million in profit. You still drive the same car. You still live in the same apartment. People assume wealth changes your daily habits instantly, dramatically, completely, overnight. In truth, the money grows quietly, while your daily life barely shifts. You start attracting attention now. Investors curious about your quiet, boring empire. A private equity friend offers you to help acquire larger, more expensive companies. This time, you're not buying with seller financing. You're using real debt. The stakes climb higher. The spreadsheets grow longer. The sleepless nights return. Occasionally, you acquire a regional logistics company, then a small commercial cleaning firm. Your holding company now employs over 200 people across 6 states. 200 families you realize now depend on decisions you make quietly. That thought used to terrify you. Now it simply feels like purpose. Respect starts replacing invisibility everywhere you go. Meetings, calls, even casual conversations. People who once ignored you now return your calls within the hour. But success brings a strange, unexpected companion nobody mentions in success stories. Loneliness settles in slowly, quietly, somewhere between the 10th and 20th deal. Old friends feel distant, unsure how to relate to your growing world. New acquaintances often want proximity to your money more than your company. You start questioning whether anyone truly sees you beyond the impressive numbers. Late one night, reviewing contracts alone, you remember that rainy apartment vividly. Back then, you had nothing, but you also had complete, simple clarity. Now, you have everything, yet clarity feels strangely harder to locate anywhere. This is the quiet truth nobody puts into flashy motivational success videos. Wealth solves certain problems, while quietly introducing entirely new, unfamiliar ones too. Still, you keep building, because stopping now feels somehow impossible to imagine. By year 9, your holding company crosses 100 million in value. Bankers who once dismissed you now compete aggressively for your attention. You acquire a manufacturing company, then a small chain of regional pharmacies. Each acquisition follows the exact same disciplined formula you built years earlier. Buy boring, buy undervalued, install systems, keep talented people, remove yourself completely. This formula, simple as it sounds, becomes worth hundreds of millions of dollars eventually. You hire a small team just to evaluate deals coming in weekly. You are no longer the operator. You have become the architect instead. The architect doesn't lay bricks. The architect decides where entire buildings rise. At 300 million, something unexpected happens. The fear quietly returns again. Not fear of failure this time, but fear of losing meaning entirely. You start asking questions you avoided during the desperate, hungry earlier years. What exactly is this all for, beyond simply watching numbers climb higher? You think about the plumber, the bakery owner, the tired laundromat seller. Each of them got dignity, an exit, and relief instead of desperation. Maybe, you realize, the holding company was never really about the money. Maybe it was always about rescuing tired businesses and the people inside them. That realization changes how you evaluate every single deal from that point forward. You start choosing businesses based on impact, not just projected financial returns. The valuation event finally arrives on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon in autumn. Your accountant calls, voice slightly shaking, confirming the number everyone has awaited. $498 million, rounding cleanly to 500 total. You expect fireworks internally, some overwhelming rush of pure euphoric emotion. Instead, you feel something quieter, steadier, almost disappointingly calm, and fully grounded. You sit alone afterward, staring quietly out a familiar rain-streaked office window. The rain outside sounds exactly like that night years ago in your apartment. You open your banking app again, this time out of habit only. The number looks different now, but your hands feel exactly the same. Steady, calm, and completely unafraid of whatever tomorrow morning might still bring. You finally understand what that broke 26-year-old could never have known then. 500 million was never really the actual point of any of this. The real prize was becoming someone capable of building something that lasts. Someone who turns fear into structure, and structure into lasting, quiet freedom. You didn't escape that rainy apartment. You simply carried its lessons forward. Every business you saved somehow ended up quietly saving a piece of you. And somewhere, right now, another version of you is staring at zero. Rain is tapping softly against another window. Another coffee slowly turning cold. The only difference between you and them is one stubborn, quiet decision. The decision to stop waiting and start owning, one small business at a time.